What I teach is alignment. And what alignment means to me is the trust and connection to our intuition. Why don't we have trust or connection to our intuition? I believe that we all have it. We just forget it or lose it along the way. When we're in the mind where we've got our programs, our stories, our conditioning, it's kind of running the show for us. So part of alignment and what I teach is getting to know what those stories are that are keeping you stuck, what those programs are that aren't serving you, and in turn being a block to what it is that you truly want. Intuition lives in the body, not in the mind. Intuition is felt. Stories and programs of the mind block us in so many ways. We could have felt afraid to be different. We could have had past experiences that weren't safe to feel because our trauma stores in the body. So anything that we haven't been ready to unpack, if we haven't felt safe, if we haven't got ourselves to a point in time where we're understanding that our mind is creating our reality all the time, then we stay in the mind, we stay blocked. But when we drop into the body, it usually requires us to feel. Intuition does not mean fitting into a mold or into other people's versions of what they want you to be or changing yourself for them. Alignment and intuition helps you to access your true nature. It's important to always remember that no one can access that for you. This is something that only you will know. It's your knowing, and past your knowing is your wisdom. So it can only come from within you. And when you're out of alignment or you've got energy moving in so many directions and you feel depleted, lost and stuck, it's a really good indication that you're blocked somehow. Maybe stuck in the mind, maybe stuck in a feeling in the body. And so your intuition is the thing that helps you through. I believe that we forget intuition as children. We forget it around the time that we go to school and we're in a structured routine. All of a sudden we're moving to when the bell rings and when we should eat, rather than feeling what our body wants to do in each moment, and we lose that connection. As children, we're all vulnerable. We all have vulnerability, and we all at one point in time remember to play and enjoy ourselves and to see awe and wonder everywhere. So why don't we keep that? It's because how we're shaped has a lot to do with our caregivers and the experiences that we've had as we soaked in all that information from all around us, including whether our caregivers were regulated or not, and whether they had awareness to their own nervous system, to their own intuition. And if they didn't, how were we meant to? What I love most about alignment and intuition is that it speaks the truth. If you want to live aligned and live with a sense of purpose, it is the thread that connects you to your inner world. The inner world is so important because what is going on within you is shaping your reality outside of you all the time, in all ways. I like to look at alignment through the esoteric and the physical sense as well. And so the nervous system is creating the life that we desire. And so is our faith and our connection with source or something much bigger than ourselves. And knowing that we're energy before we're matter really helps us to manifest. I take a very embodied approach through alignment and teaching it because it's how I have experienced it. I have been through trauma and I've been lost and stuck, not knowing what way to go, who to turn to, and led by being in survival mode and really believing that my suffering was all that there was. And so to align to something different, I had to release so much of my past and so much of what I had learned to relearn and to reparent myself. And this is why I work with intuition, and this is why I take a grounded approach to the work. I believe that we are multidimensional beings that can access anything that we want out in the vast open spaces of our inner world and bring it back down and ground it into the physical. Part of knowing how I work is to respect my capacity as it grows. It's always growing. I'm always in the work because I have chosen to be a permanent expander. I don't choose stagnation for myself. I feel like this time I have here is temporary, and I want to get the most out of it that I can. I want to experience a full life. I don't want my stories to be dictating or leading me down a path that is not for my highest good. Learning nervous system regulation as we align is really important, to know where your boundaries are, to know how much work you can unpack this week or this day, whatever it is, and to know and honor what you're feeling in your body. So we start to speak the language of the body, starting to tune in to all parts of us belonging rather than pushing any away. It's such an important part of the work to fully accept yourself. And in that, I want to acknowledge that my work will never be over. My healing is always a priority. I'm always working on myself so I can experience and embody new ways of showing up. We have this vessel. Just learning about the body on its own will take a lifetime, let alone everything else that interests me. So as I said before, I was once lost, really stuck, getting abused, choosing this life of suffering that I didn't need to choose, but I didn't know at the time. I was just doing what was familiar to me. And usually in that sense as well, which is what happened to me, I ran towards the people that were hurting me. It was what was familiar. And so from my anxiety, from my depression, since my diagnosis with CPTSD 7 years ago, I have chosen to align myself daily to my practices, to this work, and it has been nothing short of amazing. Now that I am thriving, I've written a book, I've put courses out there, I'm holding these small containers of beautiful people that are showing up to do the work together, being heard and seen in front of each other, not running from any parts of themselves, and being courageous enough to show up and being brave enough to not always need to know. I've learned that I can hold my suffering and my past so differently now, and it is safe to detach from it and to create a new way forward. And part of the work that I really love now for me and my healing journey is that I get to rest and enjoy. It's still very difficult for me to rest and enjoy myself from so many years of responsibility, being a single mom by the age of 19. It is taking a lot of deprogramming for me to find stillness and to play and enjoy myself. I want to really normalize that. As you align to your truth and when you tap into your intuition, there are going to be things there that maybe you don't want to see or feel into. And this is normal. Maybe it's a relationship that's not working out. Maybe it's a job that you don't want, but you've just spent all this time studying for. You start to discover what is no longer aligned. You have to be ready for this work. Not everyone can work with me. I want to make it really clear to the ones that do want to work with me and find alignment from within themselves. You have to be ready to notice your coping mechanisms, your stories, how they keep you stuck, which isn't easy and can be quite confronting. You have to want to release old stagnant energy. You have to want to know what's on the other side of your pain, your suffering, or what is not working for you. You have to be ready to accept yourself fully as you are. All parts of you belong, knowing that we're going to be working on younger parts of yourself, parts that have experienced something and a belief created from that. It could even be something like repetition of just being ignored too many times, and then all of a sudden you feel like you're not worthy of anyone's attention. It's looking at these things and unraveling and putting the pieces of the puzzle together. You have to be willing to participate in your life in a way that's vulnerable. To have the courage to follow your intuition, as I touched on before, means to have the courage to not always need to know, but to trust, to have faith that your knowing, your wisdom is enough. You have to be ready to see that any coping mechanisms that you do have a shadow side and a light side. And so in the shadow side is where things like past experiences, constriction, uncomfortable emotions, things will arise in this shadow part of it. But there's a lightness to it, which is the gifts, the wisdom, and the learnings and the lessons. So hopefully that video provides a little bit of clarity around intuition or alignment. It was brief, and I will go into deeper aspects of it as I record more content. If you'd like to reach out to me, you can find me on my website, and I'll put some links below. Thank you for watching.